Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United Pod. I'm STC. Back alongside me today is your co-host, Scott. How you doing, pal?
Pretty good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. It was a nervy afternoon, to say the least, but at the moment, at the stage we're at, it's 3 points all the way, and that's all that matters. So I'm pretty happy, pal.
Yeah, especially given how gut-wrenching the earlier games were, where we just needed 3 points by hook or crook.
I would echo those sentiments, Scott. And on today's pod, we will look back on Manchester United's latest 1-0 victory in the Premier League under Rangnick. Cristiano Ronaldo, the man who grabbed the 3 points from the penalty spot in a raucous Carrow Road. They missed us, didn't they? These away grounds when they were obviously stuck at home. But as we said, Scott, it's all about getting the job done. And today I felt that it's going to happen, isn't it? When you've got a new system, the players aren't quite used to it. Other managers are going to have a look at it and they're going to try little things, try and pick holes in it. And we will have to get over those bumps. I felt we had a few of them today against a team right at the bottom of the league. So it's nice to test it out against a team like that, get the 3 points, get a few bruises, but learn from those bruises that we got to.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like Dealey had screamed up the crowd before the game because they were on it from the first minute. But, it's also you got to think it's a learning curve for a lot of our players as well. I know he pretty amazingly, Rangnick singled out Fred and McTominay last game for playing one square pass each in the first half and how against that he was. So you could tell that some of the players were maybe second guessing their instincts and trying to play under this new way. So it's a bit of a learning curve for us as well. And I think as well, Ralphie is learning how to get the best out of these players.
Ralphie, already that's Ollie's job, isn't it? To put an E on the end of everything.
Let's not say we heard enough songs, mate.
But yes, mate, I would say, look, let's look at the team and let's look at the start, and of course we'll get into the effect Ralph is having. But it sounds like you're falling in love a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I am, because I love United, and this guy's got us going in the right way. And at the end of the day, I don't care who it is, as long as he takes us in the right direction. But yeah, looking at that team and that bench, TC, it was like Christmas come early for you, wasn't it?
What were those the double keeper trick?
You know it in the Premier League.
Very rare that happens. The pod as well. I'm honoured.
But you know what that is, right? That's Martial space.
Well,
he's never getting on that bench again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Scott. Of course, the press conference again from Rangnick yesterday. I've had a few messages from various people. Ben, one of them, I think. He loves the press conferences from Rangnick. And he addressed those questions well, didn't he? Against about players who don't want to be at United. He quickly poured water on those flames, didn't he?
He did, and that's the way it's got to be. We can't be held hostage by these players, and it's to be honest with you, it's a nice change. I've said for a while we're too soft, and we can't let, as you say, these players hold us to hostage. And I remember at the beginning of the season when we wanted Jesse to sign a new contract, and Ollie was coming out. Oh, he's the best. He trains so well, and then he never played him. And it just sends really mixed messages. It's really good just to get the right message out right there. And, I was actually reading as well, funnily enough, that Arsenal had Rangnick, they had him nailed on to replace Wenger back in the day a few years ago. And he actually pulled out because after he had sort of verbally agreed it, they gave Mesut Ozil that enormous contract. And he pulled out of it saying that he should have been, that they should have asked his opinion beforehand. And if that's how it was going to work, he didn't want any part of it. Okay. So I found that interesting, that he doesn't let these players get the better of him,
He just seems meticulous, Scott. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, meticulous, strong, and these. You've probably met these people in all walks of life that are so meticulous. They do their job to such a fine detail. Oh God, I've done it again. That they
close,
almost right. That they just got such confidence when they speak about it. Right, that when he speaks, he knows. He knows all the details. He's done it. He's seen it. He's researched it. He's
prepared for it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
he's
know?
absolutely.
So
He's prepared and drilled. You said it weeks and weeks ago about Jurgen Klopp and Tuchel's teams that they seem very drilled, and our players, we didn't have that. And slowly but surely, I think we're getting there. And it just takes, it takes someone really know what they're doing from the top. And
yeah.
I'm just so glad he's here, pal.
Yes. Yeah, I would say performance-wise, not good today at all.
No.
In terms of a step in the right direction, thumbs up.
Yeah, it's not going to be an overnight fix.
No.
But as well, Norwich are bottom of the league, but they have had a good upturn in form.
Yes, they have.
They were unbeaten in 5 before this, and so it wasn't maybe we were playing the bottom of the table team, but it wasn't as it usually is. It was a much harder game than on paper it would have been.
Yeah, and of course we lined up with De Gea in goal, and Rangnick did say that De Gea is the number one, and he did say that one of the keepers could go out on loan potentially in January as well. It'd be interesting to watch that one too. The fullbacks stayed as they were, didn't they? Delo and Tellez, and then we had Lindelof and Maguire in the middle. So no changes to that back five as we pretty much expect these days, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think only Varane coming in is going to change that to.
Yeah,
I think that's first choice. I think it deserves to be. I think Delo put in another great shift.
And would you put Varane in for Lindelof or Maguire?
Oh, don't ask me that. I'd love to see Varane and Bailly, but I'm a madman, aren't I?
Sure. I think you've got to go Maguire and Varane to start with, haven't you?
Yeah, you do.
You go with that to start with and see where we go from there with the more attacking fullbacks. Varane, a few notches up from Lindelof, and see how we go. Fred and McTominay, they've charmed another manager. Starting again in midfield with Bruno and Sancho ahead of them, and then Rashford and Ronaldo in the front positions. Not too many surprises there, Scott.
No, I don't think so.
None
at all. No, none at all.
I would say. But Norwich did look wide early on, didn't they? It was a very, very timid start to the match, I would say, in terms of actual action. But they did look to get wide. They looked to get their fullbacks right out there. And from watching us, of course, for the last few games, that was the one thing you thought, right, that would be the starting block. If you're looking at a way to get around this formation, you'd definitely look wide first, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. And yeah, Norwich certainly had a good game plan. And I mean, you got to think Dean Smith beat us a few months ago when he was managing Villa. So he knows how to beat us, or knew how to beat us a few months ago anyway. But everyone could have beat us a few months ago.
And that's something that we're going to have to work on, isn't it? Because I think Bruno and Sancho, although they'll put the work in terms of pressing and get about, they're not quite dynamic enough, are they, as a pair to, I guess, when we're getting pulled from one side of the pitch to the other, they look a little bit leggy, don't they, as a pair there? And if you've got Fred and McTominay there, when they were shifting it, you saw that block of four move across the field, and you thought, if they shift it now, that four's not getting over to the other side of the field anytime soon. So, yeah, that's something we've got to work on in terms of personnel partnerships and, I guess, learning the new position as well. It's a very different position Bruno's now playing to the one before. He not only has got people cramping his space up front, he's also operating in a totally different area. Yeah,
it's strange when two wide midfielders, one wants to come in and one wants to stay wide. There's going to be a lot of space in between them. It's something we've got to work on, because I don't think those two are going to be far from our starting lineup in the next few months. So they've got to figure out how to play together.
Exactly. And as I say, it wasn't too much going on. Tellez had a free kick. He must hit some beauties in training, mustn't he, to pull it off Ronaldo that close to goal.
I see he wasn't kissing the ball this time.
No. He did celebrate a throw-in today, though. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Outrageous stuff. I must say I've celebrated a few throw-ins in my time, so I can't blame him for that. But yeah, what did you make of the opening stages, sort of opening 20 minutes, Scott? It was a weird match, wasn't it?
It was kind of dull, wasn't it, to be honest with you? We looking at that team, you wouldn't think all those players were rested midweek. You'd think that we were leggy from a midweek game. But it was a slow sort of, pretty timid
lethargic,
start,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But you know what? I got to call out Tellez, because he it's really great to see a player give his all. And I know a lot of South American players have been accused of not giving their all for United, but he does. He chucks himself in everywhere, and I love the effort that he brings.
Oh, sorry. I thought when you said you call him out, I thought you were going to say something negative. So I was waiting for you to give me a negative.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
No, I was just
You're going to
calling
pick him up.
I thought he was great, and yeah, I really like having him in the first 11.
Who are these South American players? I think they've all been pretty passionate. They just ended up being,
Ando was
jackasses.
Yeah, and Ando was. I mean, I loved Anderson, but he was maybe didn't make the best of his United career, certainly in the later years. Carlos Tevez. I mean, he gave us all for United, but he's tarnished that brush, as did Gabriel Heinze. And I was just saying, you know what, Deleu's the same on the other side. I thought it was weird that Ollie sort of had this mantra of English players first, and then we'll have good backups. And here his replacements, like, well, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw really aren't playing very well. It doesn't matter if they're English. Let's get the better ones in, and it's really worked for us.
Yes, and actually, Tevez, there were a few games for United where he wasn't putting a shift in. There's this myth that goes around he always gave 100%. That is not true. Mm-hmm. I've been in Old Trafford watching when he's been ambling around, and it was always when there was problems with the club. It was never when he was happy. So, Anderson, I think, was blinded by my love for him. I just loved Anderson, didn't I? So
yeah, that first season that he went toe to toe with Fabregas and then Steven Gerrard, both wearing that black kit. I had to get him on that back of that black kit. I love that kit.
And then banged in the penalty in Moscow as well.
Oh, tell you what,
yeah.
we needed to score that one too. That was a decisive one, wasn't it?
It really blooming was, mate. Yeah. Well, it was a.
Oh no, it was Nani's the one that was decisive. Sorry,
it was, but it was also. Well, if he missed, they had to score to win, right?
Yeah, but it was Nani's that if he missed. Death. Yeah, but Nani's was our fifth one, right? So if he missed that, then Terry wouldn't have even needed to take one.
100%. I'll always love Nani for that, and Ando.
Yeah,
not Tevez.
Sure. No, Tevez. But you did. But you did agree. You did admit to me last week that him getting Drogba sent off was probably the best thing he's ever done for United, and just being that weasel that got in under everyone's skin for that extra time period.
It was world class, and the way he went past Terry like a naughty little schoolboy after was just ace. Yeah. It was back when I liked him, so I can. But
enough time. 10 years has gone. The statute of limitations has gone. TC, and you can give him his credit for at least getting Drogba sent off. Because I tell you, if Drogba didn't get sent off, then John Terry isn't missing that penalty because he wouldn't be taking it.
You changed your tune, Scott. Dear me. I mean, I remember in lockdown when I think Jarabchian and Neville were mouthing off about Tevez. And I said to you, you said, what's the topic for the pod today? We were scrambling around for topics, weren't we, in lockdown? And I said it was the Tevez thing. And you said, don't want to talk about that, something. You can do the pod by yourself. Unbelievable.
Lockdown had us saying some silly things, didn't it?
And then you did come on the pod and you were just so sour. You were bitter. I was trying to drag you through it. It was classic.
No, maybe I've changed my tune. Maybe I've calmed myself down, TC. Maybe it was just had a bit of Ollie fever.
Yes, maybe. And listen, our defence has calmed down a little bit as well. Even though we do get pulled apart at times still, there is a little bit more calmness there. I mean, there was a hairy moment just after the 25-minute mark where the ball just dropped to us in a scramble and we just cleared it away. And it's amazing what confidence does and a little bit of change of mood. That those little moments where before, we'd have a bit of pressure, the other team would get a goal-mouth scramble, the ball would drop to them, it's in the net and you don't know what happened and we're 1-0 down. Mm-hmm. It does seem like the tide has turned in terms of lady luck recently.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of confidence. I think that you actually have someone in there who's, as you're saying, trying to drill them and trying to prepare them for every outcome. That now we've got a bit more confidence when these situations do arise, that it's not just, just kick it out, or I don't know, just play it out amongst yourself. And I also think that I think that Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka aren't the best people to get to play the ball out themselves, and having Delo and Telles, are a bit better in that regard as well.
That's definitely a good point. The outlets are more positive, aren't they? And
Well, Delo's 2-footed, and
yeah,
it makes it so much easier.
yeah, yeah. I would say in this formation though, that the amount of times there's a hard pass on, and we go for instance, Ronaldo make a run. Bruno will try, and Bruno's not a good example because he's one of the ones who does try. But Fred and McTominay particularly, they'll try a pass along the floor, and yeah, of course, if the defender wasn't there, it would have got through. But it's never getting through, and we don't try that ball, that trickier ball. If we're going to play the ball, we might as well have a chance of getting it through. And I did notice that a lot of the time when there was a lot of opportunities where there was a hard pass on, and we didn't even probe. It was just sort of a sort of percentage pass, if you like. I've made an effort, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but I think we all know that Fred and McTominay are maybe a little bit one-dimensional, and they're probably been given a list of things that they need to work on and need to fix under Rangnick, and it's maybe going to take a bit of time. I'm willing to give everyone a month to get up to speed with this.
Me too. And that's why I'm chuffed tonight with that result.
Absolutely.
And the performance, I know it wasn't good, but I'm happy with it. I can see where we can really improve, and it's not. The improvement doesn't have to be massive. The basis, the foundations are all right. So, look, Ronaldo tripped over the ball. He's shown a bit of grit though. Won the ball back. Norwich fans were trying to get on his case.
I couldn't believe it was him getting the ball back.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe
he's
it.
up for the fight, mate. He's up for the fight.
A few weeks ago, he still would have been on the ground.
Yeah, he's up for the fight, mate.
Yeah, he really is.
He understands. He's a clever boy. I've said it before.
And the criticism. All these critics are slagging him off, saying he's never going to... Did you see, apparently Real Madrid are going to make a bid for him in January because he's just not fit for Rangnick's system. Unbelievable. So he's probably hearing all this and thinking, this is music to his ears, mate. He loves proving people wrong.
You know what, Scott? Recently, I've thought about it more and more. You remember when we were growing up, right? And watching United, you basically had to go to the game or you weren't watching the whole game. 9 times out of 10. Of course, sometimes it would be on the, what was it called on ITV on the Sunday? Right back in the day. There was one match on, remember?
I don't know.
Right back in there. But what I'm saying is that you didn't get to watch 90 minutes of United that often, unless you're at the ground, right? Once Sky came in, of course, United got picked a lot. But if United playing at 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, you won't get to see it, right?
No chance, no.
So journalists and the people who are on telly, they're watching more of United than we are, right? Unless we're at the ground. So them feeding us information, telling us what's going on, and them knowing more about the goings on at United is understandable. Problem is these days, mate, is that most journalists cover a variety of teams, right? So basically, us fans watch way more of United than all of these so-called experts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
because they deliberately make people report on teams that they don't have a vested interest in.
Yeah.
Right. So we're never going to get.
So what I'm saying is these narratives, like Ronaldo is not putting a shift in. It's just so easy to do, right? And it's so easy to get a clip of him throwing his hands up in the air, and 70-80% of people, maybe even more, will just think, "Oh, Ronaldo's having a strop again," which I would as well if I didn't support United and didn't like Ronaldo, and he played for a different side. I'd be like, Ronaldo's having a strop again. He's not pressing. And the narrative gets magnified and magnified and magnified.
Yeah, but another thing you have to think about in this day and age, pal, is the word clickbait. And the amount of people just putting out ridiculous stories just to get one person clicking on it. Because, as you know, numbers mean everything in terms of this. But, it was funny. I remember I was reading this article last night. It was the first one on BBC Gossip, which I read it every day at midnight UK time. And top story was Real Madrid are going to try and buy Ronaldo. And I remember
it's such tosh, isn't it?
I remember I was like, I'm not even going to click it because that is clickbait. And it was like, I've clicked on a lot of rubbish stories before, mate, just thinking maybe there's a chance. But that was maybe the first one that I thought, nah, not even going to touch that one.
Well, the thing is, Scott, remember back in the day, at least the transfer section in whatever paper you read was a little tiny thing, and you get 6 transfers maybe, right? For the whole world.
Yeah.
per day. And so that was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
And
You're like,
each
blooming
paper
hell.
would report different ones.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
remember?
know.
But now it's just like the Daily Mail just does sort of an aggregate of everyone, and
Exactly.
it's and you know another weird thing is you'll read an article by the Mirror saying it's the Daily Star reported this, and it's like how are they just paraphrasing what the it's strange that they don't even come up with their own stories. They just regurgitate other journalists.
Yeah, well, they're all linked, aren't they? That's the thing. Yeah. All linked. Anyway, the old independent media is the way forward, Scott.
Absolutely.
That's why we do the pod, isn't it?
That's why we're here, yeah.
Exactly. But look, Delot had a tame shot on the 32nd minute, but, Scott, he's chucking it into the danger zone. Ronaldo could get a touch on that. With Wan-Bissaka, we're probably just popping it back to the midfield there. So I'd much rather us be chucking the ball into the box there. And also, sometimes when you're just not getting a sniff of goal, when you get a little bit of an open, you've got to have a poke, even if it's not going to be the best of pokes, just to lay a glove on them. You know what I mean?
And every so often you've got to cut in and use your opposite foot, because you think Wan-Bissaka hugs the touchline, and he's easy to play against. You sort of know where Wan-Bissaka's going to go. He's either going to go straight forward or he's going to stop and pass it back. He's never going to cut inside. So it keeps that full back on their toes. And again, Delot coming in and having a shot with his left foot, I'm not against it. As long as it's on target, maybe they can be a bit stronger than that. But
yeah. And Bruno tried a weird pass, didn't he, through to Ronaldo? Almost like a scoop, but it was quite a long range pass, wasn't it?
Yeah, these up and unders that he likes to do.
Yeah. Damn, he's been watching Ronaldinho again. See Ronaldinho's goal in that charity match the other day? I
didn't know.
Dear me, I'll send you it. Outrage. I don't know how he did it, mate. Unbelievable. Look, Maguire was having to sprint back from quite a high position, like high starting position, of course. He's not going to be playing every minute, is he, for the rest of the season, playing this system? I noticed he's having to do a lot more full sprints, full sort of 30, 40 metre sprints. Did well, got back, cleared away a couple of times, but he's going to have to be managed, because the way we played under Ollie, of course, he was sitting right back, got those two in front of him. We were playing so deep with that six, Scott. Now, when you watch us now, we were playing so blooming deep. So, yeah, I think that's something in terms of Maguire, that he will not be Mr. 90 minutes every single match of every match of the season.
That's fine. That's
of course
fine.
Of course it is. It's what we want.
Absolutely. The fact
that we can't be too dependent on anybody, can we?
That record that he had when he was playing half fit, just to keep this appearance record going, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I remember. And on 37th minute, United sprung into life, won the ball back. Fred, I think it was. Ronaldo threw, double dummy, and then Krul parried away. Sancho skipped into the danger zone straight after as well. It was a little sign of what we can do when we get forward. Ronaldo, some people say, should have pulled the trigger straight away. I think he made enough space after the double dummy to justify his decision. The execution just wasn't that good. So, unfortunately, like normally with Ronaldo, the execution's top notch, isn't it? But yeah, I didn't think it was that bad of a decision. The commentators on the English feed, I thought it was.
No, but it was a bit passive, wasn't it? It didn't really have as much conviction as you usually associate with Ronaldo going forward.
Yeah, I would totally agree, Scott. And even the chance later on when he spooned it over from Rashford's run, where it was just behind him, he kind of mirrored the rest of the side in terms of, like you say, the passive nature of our attacks. We really lacked penetration today, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's I don't really know what it is, because as you say, they've had a week, a week's break, we'll say. I don't want to say break, because I know that they've been working a lot harder than that. But yeah, you know what? Maybe training's knackering these days, and actually the game's a place that they can rest.
I love that from Ralf as well, when he said that, we split the sides. So we had the one side training for Norwich and the other side training for the game in the week. And normally you get people saying, only eyes for that game or only eyes for that game. But it's logical, isn't it? Of course, as we discussed, the performance today wasn't great. But they will benefit from that week of training. As you say, I don't think it really was a rest. Look, we were all at sea, weren't we? And Delot had to come to the rescue. De Gea with a relatively easy save, I'd say, shortly after. It felt like a goal was coming, though, with about 5 minutes to go before half-time.
It did. They just had corner after corner.
Yeah.
It was worrying.
Yeah, we had a couple of breakaways which broke down, and Maguire had a looping header that almost caught Krul napping, didn't it?
It was an excellent save.
It was, yeah.
It really was. It was a good chance, to be honest. And actually, the last few minutes of that first half, we came out and tried to get that goal to go in with. But it was a good end to a pretty passive first half.
It was. But even going in at half time, Scott, I felt pretty relaxed. I was really nervous going into the match, not in terms of worrying about the result, just in terms of I just want to keep these good vibes going. I'm enjoying this. I'm loving the good feeling around the club, the manager, the players. But even going at the half time, even that performance, I really did feel that we were going to get it done. At all times today, Scott, I really thought we can get those 3 points. Very, very confident.
It's funny, isn't it? Even back in the maybe even the Chelsea game, but the Arsenal game as well. I know we conceded a couple goals there, but as much pressure as we had going against us, I never really felt like we were completely under siege. And it was the same sort of thing today. That they had a lot of possession, let's not lie, and a lot of possession in our half. But I never really felt as vulnerable as I have felt in the last few months under other managers.
Yeah, well, we talk about confidence in football, don't we? And often we're just talking about the players. But when you think about it, the confidence in terms of, like, say, an individual sport, like, say, tennis, for instance, you have a bad game, the next match, the crowd are clapping you on, it's lovely. In football, when things are going badly, especially when things are going badly as a team, you've got opposition fans baiting you. You've got your own fans questioning you. You've got the media. You've got Twitter. You've got your Instagram. Everything's going off. It must be absolute mayhem. So, I mean, it's no real surprise, right, that we, once the clouds lift, once the confidence changes direction, we've talked about it so many times, haven't we, Scott? It's just a weird and wonderful thing. But at the moment, we're riding the crest of the wave. And yeah, even with a bad performance, you just felt, yeah, we're going to get those 3 points.
Yeah, and there's something wonderfully reassuring about being able to get 3 points and not play great. We used to do it quite a lot under Fergie, and they used to say that's the caliber of a championship winning team.
Yes.
So yeah,
you don't want to play bad too often, right? Because that's what we've fallen into this trap before. Look, half time as usual, I point you towards our friends over at vintageunitedshirts.com. Use our promo code United100 for a 10% discount across the store over there. They stock old, classic Manchester United shirts from the 90s, noughties, and a few more recent ones too.
And they're all shirts and socks too.
Yeah. If you want to full kit it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, those grey shorts on there one time. Those are great.
It's got some more coming as well.
Yeah, I know.
Shorts and socks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want your full kits, he's got them too. He's also got some new artwork as well of some of the United legends of the past. So have a look over there. Use that promo code across the store and get over to our Instagram at United100 Podcast. Like the post and follow us and Vintage United Shirts. Follow the instructions on the post. You'll be entered into a prize draw. You can win a £50 voucher to use at Vintage United and an artwork as well. So that the result, the winner will be announced on Tuesday. So get over there onto Instagram at United100 Podcast and enter that draw. You get your hat in the ring, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, some of those artworks were fantastic, weren't they?
Artworks,
I love that Fergie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Checking that blooming watch. The wily old fox, I'm sure, like Hublot or whoever it was who was sponsoring our watches back then, would have been lining his pockets with gold.
Yeah, it was great. One of the classic throwbacks on the MUTV channel this week was when we went to Norwich back in 11-12 when Giggs and Scholes both scored, and there was a great moment at the end when he was checking his watch frantically after Giggsy had scored, and it reminded me of that.
He used to fumble, didn't he, at his sleeve? I was just going to say, you probably missed out by a few years on getting an absolute blockbuster watch deal, right? I think individual deals came a little bit. I think we would have got a fair bit, but an absolute blockbuster. Think of that, the iconic watch.
Yeah.
It would have been, He's doing all right, though.
I bet you we probably did.
Yeah.
You know,
It would have been something all right.
Yeah.
It would have been
Fergie's
something all
doing
right.
fine. Don't worry about Fergie.
I don't, mate. Well, I just miss him. Just miss him desperately.
He wasn't at the game today, was he?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Usually you get to see him, but I don't think he was there.
Yeah, well, the stuff going on the field is pretty decent these days, so they don't need to show the crowd too often, do they? But in Norwich on a horrible evening like that, possibly not. Other thing to point you towards, of course, is our members Patreon, patreon.com/United100. Get over there if you're a big fan of the pod, want to show your support and get entered into our competitions as well. I've got another one of them coming up in the next few weeks. Scott, look, the second half started pretty much a little bit the same as the first, didn't it? It was bit sort of nothing for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, dull, I would say, but
Yeah,
we looked knackered. A lot of these players look really, really tired. It was as I say, it was strange. You wouldn't have thought they just had a week off.
Yeah,
and we got another
bit
game
of pressing, and they're blooming pooped, Scott.
But you know what? At least the effort was still there. You can. I think you know what? I actually think we're trying to get familiar with how to play without the ball a bit better. And you know that Ralphie's just trying to tick every box.
Yes, we did have a penalty shout for Marcus Rashford. He was offside. I think it would have been a penalty, wouldn't it, Scott?
Probably would have been.
Yeah, it looked like a stone banker, as you and Pulis say.
Me. First time I've heard it.
Well, you quote Pulis so much, it's almost become your phrase.
All right.
Pookie had a shot as well, expertly, I would say, tipped over by David De Gea, who had another good game today. And Norwich, they had a bit of a spell, didn't they? Maguire in well on one particular occasion to snuff it out, but it was sort of a 5-7 minute spell, I would say.
Yeah, it was lackluster defending, bailed out by my old pal Dav again, wasn't it? That Pookie save was fantastic. I know it was maybe a bit Hollywood, but I mean, I've seen him chuck those in too. So I'm going to congratulate him when he saves them. That was a good save, Dave.
Yeah, and actually a strong take from a corner ended that spell of Norwich pressure, and he did a sharp throw out. It was like a throw-in throw out, wasn't it? Which set us off and ended up with a Rashford shot at the other end, and just making those right decisions from the goalkeeper position makes such an effect on whether we get the counter-attack right or not. And for some reason, since things have changed, Dave's making way better decisions. Ball at the feet, ball in hands. It's much better, I think. So that was another good little bit of play from Dave.
Yeah, I think he's actually given instructions.
Yeah,
it's as they all are, and you can see from they're playing a bit more methodical. They're actually thinking a bit more before they play.
It's not quite Van Gaal levels of detail, is it? It's sort of a happy medium in the middle.
Yeah, there's a bit more flexibility in there.
Exactly. It's not as rigid, I would say.
But I think that's true to form to Ralph as well. That he, Van Gaal, the one thing he banged on about almost to a fault was his philosophy. Do you remember? And that nobody, if they didn't adhere to his philosophy, they were out. And I think Ralph's sort of come in and he's like, well, we've got great players here and I'm going to have to adapt to it here. And you can see that we're sort of learning how to cohabitate.
And we had a few more than 2 square passes a match under Van Gaal, didn't we, in midfield? Dear me.
Yeah.
50 or 60.
To me, Rashford didn't look very comfortable as a number 9. Again, I thought he was a bit frustrated, especially after that. I think you're talking about the chance of the 60th minute. He was a bit frustrated. He almost got booked a minute later for sort of tracking back and smashing a guy up. I thought he looked a bit frustrated.
I haven't fancied him there for a long time, Scott. You know that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Bruno and Rashford, now their positions have been adjusted and for the worse probably for their skill set. But they can adapt and there is always... Rashford's one of those players. The good stuff he does is so good. It gives you that hope that he can just put it all together and just become that player we hope he can.
And he's the quickest
player. The good
player
stuff is so good.
And he's the quickest player. So when you have that pace, he's always a threat.
I just think if he's going to play in as as one of the two, he has to be way more dynamic. He has to be way more sort of just popping up either side of Ronaldo. And Ronaldo almost becomes the front man, and Rashford is buzzing off him all the time. That's the only way I can see it working at the moment, where they're almost a flat front two. Yeah, it's not happening for him.
Yeah, I'd maybe like to see Bruno playing as a false nine, but I know that that's basically just a number 10. So it's
Cavani's the answer.
You think?
Cavani's the answer. Yeah,
I was surprised to not see him anywhere today. I thought that given how Ralf was talking about him before the game, I thought you might at least see him on the bench.
Yeah, he's just. I mean,
he's a game away.
You get the experience, you get the goals, you get the aerial ability, and then you get the enthusiasm of a youngster and the energy of a youngster as well. Of course, you just have to manage the amount of games he plays, but he's a lot of things rolled into one Cavani. He really is.
You know, you think back to Ronaldo's winner against Villarreal at home, in the Champions League, and how Cavani just pressed him out of nowhere, 30-yard run. That's going to be perfect for Ralf. I'm excited to see that, and him. You know, you also get the wiliness of just this guy who scored 600 or so goals. That he's one of the best finishers of our generation, and he's much better in the team than out.
Yes, and of course you never know when Pogba comes back. That little left number 10 position would be something that he could certainly get his teeth into. So we will see with that, and we'll see how that plays out. Rangnick, is taking it easy as it happens. Look,
but he did say that when Pogba comes back, he wants to play him more of as a midfielder, not as a winger or a striker.
Yes, but that's those positions Bruno and Sancho's playing, they're not wingers, are they? They're number 10s. So I suppose a number 10's a midfielder.
Yeah.
In my book. But
look,
I was thinking there was a couple of openings for United, but a severe lack of penetration. And just as I was thinking it, Scott, Greenwood was stripping off, and I was thinking that's what I want from a manager. I want to be watching and be thinking, oh God, we're lacking something here, and then he just does something to make me get back up, sitting up, and thinking, right, here we go. So yeah, again, loving it.
Well, if he was stripping off, then Ralf was actually thinking it before you. So we've actually got a manager who's one step ahead of you now, TC.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So get used to that, mate.
Then we had a little bit of a worrying moment, mate.
Yeah.
Lindelof was down with no one around him and seemed to be holding his chest. Didn't seem to be in too much discomfort, but he was taken down the tunnel and Bailly came on for him. I was pretty glad to see him go down the tunnel, I must say, Scott. When something like that happens, the amount of times I've seen something weird happen, when the person stays on, they go down again. So I was delighted to see him go. Of course, we're recording this as soon as the match finished. So if something's happened, then I'm not privy to that. But yeah, it was worrying, wasn't it, Scott?
So I know in training they wear those sort of sports bras now that have heart monitors. Do they wear them during the game?
Kinky bugger.
But do they wear them during the game? Is there any way that we could, that they can tell if there's any sort of heart murmuring or anything like that?
Some people wear them. You can always see when they're wearing them because you can see the little lump on their back.
Yeah, Ashley Young used to wear one. I thought he was a hunchback for years. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of other sports use them, but no, not so much. And you know what, Scott? In England, the tests are way less intricate than they are in Italy. Particularly, Italy are very, very, very meticulous in the way they check when you have your medical and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. We don't know at all. So let's not comment too much. Just hope he's all right, of course. And I was glad to see him come off
for sure
because it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we get to see Eric Bailly, so it's always fun for us. And then this is what I'm talking about Marcus Rashford, Scott. 2 minutes later, unreal skill to keep the ball in and win a corner, and of course he only won a corner, but to keep the ball in and then burst off the piece of skill he did to keep the ball from going out, it was just outrageous. And it's just
happened on that left wing though, didn't it?
Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah, he plays the best out there.
Yep. Yeah, I would
but
say
outrageous. I mean, I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, and then just 1 minute later, Scott, McTominay's ball into the box, Ronaldo down screeching Bruno headed wide at the far post, and the referee pointed to the spot. Of course, we had VAR as usual. Had to do a little check. Were you confident, Scott, that they weren't going to overturn it? It wasn't much to it. There was. The good thing is the ref gave it. If the ref hadn't given it, they wouldn't have overturned it. But the fact the ref gave it, they're not going to disallow it, if you know what I mean.
I think that the ref only gave it after Ronaldo appealed for it.
Massive screech.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he was just like, why wouldn't I have gone up and headed the ball? And that is the fact. Like if Ronaldo didn't have arms all over him, he would have scored it from heading.
And it doesn't take much contact to stop someone going up for a header. You know from playing football, right? Especially when you haven't got a ref, you're playing in the park. You just give your mate a nudge. There's no way he's getting the ball. So of course that happens all the time in professional football, but a bit more than a nudge, and this was. And I guess the position of it is crucial. When you're right in that 6-yard box, right in the middle of the goal, the refs are always going to be more harsh on you.
Yeah, it would have made it easier if Bruno just stuck that in the roof of the net, though. I can't believe he missed.
I thought that. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was, and I thought it even more when I remembered it was Tim Krul in goal, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
watched another replay.
So he saved a couple against us before, hasn't he, in the same match?
Yeah, Martial and Rashford. Both good saves. But you know what? Actually watching it, he came like 4 or 5 steps off his line for the Rashford one. But back then they didn't call it. But he was like halfway to the 6-yard line. But anyway, I mean, Van Gaal brought him on in the World Cup semi-final, didn't he? Or World Cup quarter-final?
Yeah, he did,
to save penalties?
Absolutely, he did, yeah. And, but Cristiano Ronaldo sent it the wrong way, smashed it home, and went away to celebrate in front of the Norwich fans. The little calm down celebration from Cristiano Ronaldo that we know and love. He's done it again, mate. Not the greatest performance from Cristiano Ronaldo today. He tripped over the ball more times than he had shots, I think, but did the job, mate, and I was bloody nervous. I actually, when I watched it live, I thought it'd gone the same way as Krul, and Krul had got in touch and it had gone in, but totally the wrong way, mate. So I don't know what planet I'm living on sometimes when I'm watching United anyway.
Tim Krul was up to all sorts, wasn't he? Pointing in the other direction. And
it fazed me.
You know, you've got to say, honestly, from the time that penalty was given to the time he actually took it was about 3 minutes, and he's standing in front of 20,000 Norwich fans screaming at him. So that shush was to tell them to calm down. I mean, he's not fazed by Norwich fans. A graphic came up that Norwich was one of the only English teams that he hasn't scored against. So
there you go.
You can right that wrong.
And Krul tried to boot the ball at Ronaldo while he was doing his sue, didn't he? Which I thought was a bit of fun as well.
I tell you, it was the same as Jorginho last. Even if Krul went the same way, he wouldn't have saved it.
Yeah,
unbelievable penalty.
I'd agree with that. Delot was booked shortly after, and then David De Gea, and this was top draw on the 77th minute. It was a wonder save, Scott. It was absolutely delightful. I mean, to push the ball away, where it was, how low down it was, that was beautiful.
World class. Yeah, that was world class. Probably maybe his best save this season. Maybe the one at Wolves was better, but yeah, his best save he's had for a while.
He's looking so much more confident and comfortable as well, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
He really is. But that was really, really top draw. And Eric Bailly was sliding around on his arse again, wasn't he, on the 80th minute? I know we commented on one of his challenges the last game, and then we, of course, didn't comment on the other one. He was down again today. He's back to his old tricks, isn't he? He's got his mojo back.
Bailly to the rescue. But, you know, this is what you always see, TC, is we're always the team that players score their first goal against, right? And or like Longstaff or something like that. So about 30 seconds before Billy Gilmour went through, they're like, Billy Gilmour, he's never scored a league goal ever.
Here we go.
And I was like, oh, why would you say that with 10 minutes to go? And then he went clean. He was almost clean through on goal. And I thought, here we go. Heart and mouth. And I actually, even with the deflection, I thought it went in. But he
had 2 bites of the cherry, didn't he? It was a very, very strong block from Eric Bailly.
Bailly to the rescue.
Yeah. And it was a shame, wasn't it? We had a lovely counter at one stage. Mason Greenwood blatantly fouled, stayed up, and the ref said no free kick. He did gesticulate to the ref to say, look, I've been fouled here. And it's a vicious cycle, isn't it? Because next time then Greenwood dives, and then people end up saying he's a diver. But when you stay up, refs just don't give you those free kicks, do they? It's like, I wish they would, because it's quite obvious when it's happened. It's just so easy for the refs to wave it off.
Yeah, but it happened to Rashford in the first half as well, that he tried to, it was either a free kick or a penalty, and he said that he had his shirt pulled, and maybe he did, but there was never enough contact for him to stop his run. I
Yeah.
think unfortunately Greenwood got a bit of an unfortunate circumstance of that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And we were holding on a little bit at times, weren't we, in that last 10 minutes? It was nervy, but I'd say we were pretty compact. We were pretty well drilled, for considering the amount of days that we've had to prepare under this manager in total. And there was good fight, wasn't there, Scott? The players were getting out to the ball. We weren't letting easy crosses get slung into the box, easy shots get off. We were getting out there. It wasn't perfect. I'd say we were, we were not as good as we need to. We weren't as well oiled a machine as we need to be, but we were compact enough. We were good enough, weren't we?
We were definitely. We weren't just playing the same formation, just 6 or 10 yards back. We were actually. It seemed like we had more compactness to us.
Yeah.
But we were also clinical on the break, as you saw in the 86th minute when that Rashford play on the left wing was unbelievable again. Don't know how Ronaldo missed that.
I wouldn't say clinical. I'd say we're dangerous. Right.
Yeah.
Clinical. I didn't see all the goals, but we were certainly dangerous, and we did. We had that Ronaldo chance after Rashford skinned his man. It was just behind Ronaldo, but it was well over. Bruno spun neatly, didn't he, on the edge of the box, pulled wide, and
Good high
that was
press.
that. Pardon me.
Good high press. We're winning the ball really high up, and
was indeed.
Yeah,
and it gives you that breathing space, doesn't it? That press. It means that instead of having the whole last 10, 15 minutes absorbing pressure, you absorb a bit of pressure, you win a bit, you win a corner, and the time goes a lot quicker. That last few minutes today went by a decent speed, considering I was pretty nervy. Some of those games when you're holding on and you're getting battered, 5 minutes seems like 15.
Yeah. The last 10 minutes at Chelsea was it felt like half an hour.
I'd agree
but
with
this,
that.
I mean, I always think that we give away goals from either corners that weren't corners or from free kicks that shouldn't be free kicks, and I thought we were going to be undone again today, TC.
Yes, well, look, first of all, that was the last act for Bruno. Van der Beek was subbed on again, so 88th minute is about right, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then Ronaldo was rolled by Gilmour in the air and then landed heavily seconds later. And then, from what I think you're talking about, Scott, Cantwell, when it was a proper dive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Real proper dive, and no contact whatsoever. And from the free kick, David De Gea had to save right, sort of inside his goal, and he had to parry away. It was offside anyway, but I think that's what you're going to talk about, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it was because he was offside initially, but then when the ball was flicked back, he would out.
Okay.
It would have gone to VAR, and they might have actually given that because it was very borderline. Right. Because a United player got a touch, and it would have negated the fact if he was offside. But that was heart in mouth. I thought we were in serious trouble, pal.
And I was exactly the same as you, pal. When he went down, I was thinking exactly the same as what you just said.
Well, this is how we're going to concede.
And it was great stuff by De Gea to push it away. And like I was saying earlier in the pod, Scott, when you've got your confidence up, when things seem to be going right, the ball just dropped and we got it away. Right, yeah. We've seen so many times those situations.
Got the goal kick, yeah.
Pardon? Yeah, it was a bit of a right, wasn't it?
Yeah, the last thing I wanted was another corner. They must have had 10 corners in the second half.
It was superb. We had a breakout on the 93rd and a poor pass, unfortunately, from Rashford again to Greenwood. Fred ended up winning a free kick right on the edge of their box, though, which gave us a little bit of breathing space. What do you think of that, Scott? 30 seconds to go, shot on free kick on the edge of their box. You can take it short, run to the corner, and you can pretty much max out those 30 seconds. You take a shot, goes to the keeper. That's like 2 or 3, 5 seconds. They can hoof it up the pitch, kick it over. I wasn't a fan of that at all.
1-0 down, yeah, take the shot. 1-0 up.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Of course, I thought that was silly play. Of course, the way it happened meant that we ate up some seconds anyway, but that was a silly thing to do. I think Ralf will have a word. But look, Scott, we got the win. We got the 3 points. That was everything that mattered today. And we get to progress with this new formation, with this manager. Who's your man of the match, pal?
David De Gea.
Yeah,
We'll get it
of course.
today.
David De Gea or the goal scorer. Every single time I've said this. To you and Ben. Me too, though. I'd have to agree with you.
Well, Ronaldo's got my little bottle, so I'm guessing true to form.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Ralphie's going to get a bag of Haribo every week if he continues 1-0 wins like this. Yeah.
Dear me.
Come on, mate. But nice bit of positivity. It was also good for the new assistant manager and a couple of new coaches to get a win under their belt. First time they're trying on their tracksuits.
Yes. Yeah. It's good to see them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, things will progress. We've got January to come as well. And just having the right feel around the club in terms of the manager, the fans, everything, it'll encourage the owners to spend as well. So things are looking up at the right time, Scott. We've got a nice run coming up. We've got Brentford in the week, of course. And I like Ralf when he didn't say that Norwich are a good team. He said that Carrow Road, is going to be a tricky place to go. That's the right way to do it, isn't it? You said that the stadium's a tricky place to go, which it is. The stadium's tricky. Team's not. Situation is. But yeah, I like that level of respect. Just enough, but not too much.
Absolutely. He's not covering his arse before the game even begins.
Yeah, but we've got a good run, mate. We've got a really good run over Christmas. You've got the lovely 9-day break. The players will be able to spend Christmas at home. And yeah,
we've got Moisey next weekend.
Pardon me?
We've got Moisey next weekend, don't we?
Do we really?
Yeah, I think we've got West Ham away next weekend, don't we? Sorry, I was a bit all over the place with my Christmas fixtures.
The Christmas Grinch.
Yeah.
He's
and then we got an 8-day break.
Christmas, Scott.
Then we got an 8-day break. I can't believe it. It's like the first sort of winter break English football's ever got.
And then we play on the 3rd of January, Scott.
Yeah.
I won't be hungover for the first game in January for the first time in my blooming life.
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But it actually gives him a good amount of time to check on these players now, and then a good amount of time to prep for January, because I think there are going to be a few outgoings and a few incomings there, TC.
I hope so, Scott. Exciting times ahead.
And it actually gives us something to do in that 8-day break. We can maybe have a transfer window pod.
If you're up for it, pal.
Yeah, of course.
If you're up for it. Listen, mate, anything else to add today?
Football related or Formula One related? Because I'm excited for this race tomorrow, pal.
Go on then. We got a bit of a weekend of sport. I'm looking forward to the MMA tonight as well.
I bet you are. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got some tasty fights going on.
Men in pants grappling each other, don't you? Love it.
Now then, nothing wrong with that.
Oh, love it. No, I can't wait for this race. A bit surprised that Verstappen got pole position today, but I think Lewis will do it in the end.
You're a big Hamilton fan, aren't you, pal?
Huge, yeah. Name the first.
Cricket didn't go so well, though, did it, buddy?
But
it was meant to be a real weekend of sport, but you ruined it for everybody.
Well, can I let you in on a secret, pal?
Here we go.
I was watching us do pretty well, wasn't I? I missed a wicket, but I was watching us try and bowl them out. I went outside for a couple of minutes. I came back and we had what's his name? Robinson got two wickets in 2 balls. And I was like, can't believe I missed it. Unbelievable. So I sat and watched it for another 3 hours until like 3 o'clock in the morning and didn't get another wicket. So yeah, my curse is alive and well. Unbelievable.
Yes, mate. You are, You just got to stop watching it, pal. You just got to stop watching it. What about the Champions League draw on Monday? Who do you fancy?
Good teams, aren't they? Good teams in that second.
They're all right. I wouldn't mind a Portuguese side.
All
Sporting,
right.
Benfica.
Paris are in there as well, aren't they?
No need for that.
Yeah, I think
at this
Paris
stage.
are an option. That they're going to love to have Messi against Ronaldo. That's going to happen one round.
Sporting or Benfica for me.
Okay, yeah, that would work.
Nice mid-level challenge, right?
More talk about your old mate Raiola coming out this week, talking more nonsense.
Yes, yeah.
What's going to happen?
Left us out of the Haaland gang, didn't he?
Well, he did name check us, but he was just saying that City have had more titles than United. So,
for God's sake,
we did get our name in there,
isn't he? He always slithers out just before Christmas.
Yeah.
As opposed to the January transfer window, isn't it? And of course, the other reason is that the pre-contracts can be signed in January. Pogba can sign for a European club in January.
I think he's got a few clients like that at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because I think Haaland's probably going to go. If they can get 100 million for him in January, why would they sell him for 65 in the summer?
Yeah.
But
Ralphie, get on it. Haaland and Ronaldo up front. Forget Rashford.
What about Cavani? I thought you were all over Cavani a minute ago.
Forget Cavani too, mate. Come on. It's cutthroat now. Sentiment out the window. We've had that. We've had our fun with Ollie. Now sentiment out the window. Let's just get some bloody titles back, Scott. I want to hold that trophy up. Premier League, Champions League, get back in the real big business.
But what is going to happen with Paul Pogba though?
We will see, won't we? I mean, it's going to be.
What do you predict?
I think that it's so hard to predict. And actually, Scott, I don't want to, because I want everyone to have a clean slate. I said this before, and he might come back and it might just click and everything's fantastic. And I don't need to comment on it, right? So I'd rather not, because if I do make a prediction, it's probably going to be a negative one. So that gives you a clue as to what I think will happen. But I hope, of course, I hope the whole squad we have now play as well as they possibly can, and we win it all with this squad. That would be the best, wouldn't it? But yeah, I have my doubts.
How do you think he took Ralph's comments about that Ralph doesn't want to have players who don't want to be there, etc., and sort of made it all about the team instead of him? How do you think he took those comments?
Well, it doesn't give him too much room to manoeuvre, does it? It gives him a simple, just make your decision, and whatever you decide, good luck to you, son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to talk about Pogba, let's go back to when Pogba was over in Japan doing an Adidas event, 2 summers ago, 3 summers ago, however many summers ago. And he said he wanted a new challenge. And we said then that if we keep him, he's going to be blooming a constant headache. He's going to be constantly injured. He's constantly missing. And then he'll probably leave for a free, or he'll probably go somewhere anyway. And that's what's happened, Scott.
Yeah.
Basically.
You can't do anything about it.
Because anyone who wants to bring out the honeymoon period run under Pogba, that was before then, right? So he's never clicked since then. So, yeah. I think probably it's time to move on. But, man, everyone's got a clean slate at the moment from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, everyone. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Keep those reviews coming as well. We've had some absolute belters, 5 stars all the way, and some really kind words as well. Massively appreciate it. Also appreciate the DMs I get, and the feedback on whether you prefer a post-gamer or you prefer a couple of days delay. So, yeah, keep them coming. I always enjoy the feedback. And hit that subscribe button if you can, and whack us a good review. It does help us. Follow our social media at United 100 Podcast on Instagram and at United 100 Pod on Twitter. Of course, on the Instagram, we always keep us updated. Everyone updated, as to any little changes. But we will be going post-match for the foreseeable anyway. Make sure you get over to vintageunitedshirts.com. Have a look around the shop there. Check out the classic United shirts from Ronaldo, the current day, to Ronaldo back. When he joined, to Rooney, Ronaldo again, Eric Cantona, Mark Hughes, whoever, all the old favourites. And of course, get over to Instagram, like the post, our last post on Instagram, follow the instructions on there. I think you have to tag a couple of pals, and you enter that competition for £50 store credit at Vintage United, and one of those artworks that they've done for the United icons. Scott, look, we'll be back, won't we, after the Brentford game? And more of the same from Ralph, please.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another hard, what do you say, tricky place to go? Maybe not a great team,
tricky
but
place to go. Good test.
Yeah, good test.
But no possible reason to not come away with the 3 points.
This is a great team. This is...
No.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you for having me, TC.
Football, all this nonsense, yeah. Absolutely, mate. Listen, pal, absolute pleasure as always. Thanks for joining me again.
Thank you, TC.
Take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.